He sent her a photo of a steak with wine, which she immediately recognized as top-quality Wagyu and a very expensive French wine. At that moment, the urge to have some became strong, and he asked her to eat it with him and drink wine too. Zhang Yi's response was that if she wanted, she could go to the market and buy it herself. Despite her anger, she calmed down because she needed to please Zhang Yi to be able to go to his place too. After that, he just ignored her and went back to enjoying his meal. It was then, on the building's surveillance cameras on the iPad screen, that he saw the show Aunt Lin, who is the building manager, saying not to panic and not to fight over food. She mentioned that the extreme weather would last at most 2 or 3 days and that the neighborhood committee would help everyone through this. Aunt Lin warned that excessive hoarding of supplies was prohibited and would be reported to the authorities if discovered. However, one person spoke out against it, questioning how she could be sure that the heavy snowfall wouldn't last long. The surrounding residents also wanted to know, stating that if they didn't stock up on supplies now, Aunt Lin would be responsible if they ran out of food. Aunt Lin then stated that the neighborhood committee would take responsibility for this issue, then pointed to Zhang Yi to divert attention, just to tell him not to cause trouble. He didn't care about the threats and went back to his super safe house. A week passed, and the snow outside kept falling. Aunt Lin asked the building group for Zhang Yi, who is young, to clear the snow from the building's door. He said it was useless to clear because it would be like trying to dry a river with a bucket. By refusing Aunt Lin's request to clear the snow, Zhang Yi suggested she ask the rich people in the neighborhood for help. She was furious and clearly just trying to pick a fight. Angrily, she said that on behalf of the neighborhood committee, this was an order, and whoever opposed the orders would be blamed by the neighborhood committee for the problems. Questioning why Aunt Lin didn't call the rich people in the neighborhood to do the heavy lifting, he proposed that Aunt Lin ask Chunjiang how to clear the snow. Chunjiang is a construction boss. He has employees for that, and Xing Song is a rich guy and can afford to pay if he doesn't want to help like everyone else. The authority of Aunt Lin in the group was shattered, and upon reading the messages, Lin, cursing, decided to call both members of the group to clean the snow together, tagging them in the chat. Upon seeing the message, Chunjiang immediately got angry with Aunt Lin and with Zhang Yi for acting as if he owned the place. Xing Song sent an audio message in the group, saying he was busy working hard and sent a photo to show how busy he was. Aunt Lin was furious with the rich guy's response, but didn't question anything. She just accused Zhang Yi of causing this confusion. Zhang Yi didn't bother and ignored the rest. Aunt Lin was so furious that she called Zhang Yi personally to complain. He threatened her that if she kept talking nonsense and bothering him, he would kill her. Trembling with fear, she hung up and didn't say anything else in the group. While he was eating, a loud noise came from the front door, and Chunjiang outside shouted, "You were acting all high and mighty in the chat, putting others against me in the group. I'm going to kill you now, punk!" Zhang Yi grabbed his bow and went to the door. While Chunjiang was kicking, magically aiming through the door opening, he asked about who would kill whom first. Zhang Yi hit Chunjiang's shin with an arrow through the peephole. He saw the arrogant guy on the floor, groaning in pain non-stop. No one would have imagined that a silly and naive boy, an honest person, would have the courage to react like this. Chunjiang didn't know that this was just the beginning of Zhang Yi's revenge. With the cold temperature, Chunjiang could die if not treated in time. He would slowly die from infection, and weak would die from the cold. Struggling to reach the elevator, he didn't imagine that this kid he had seen 3 times in his life would do this to him. The truth is that Zhang Yi wanted to kill him at once. Realizing this, he got scared, grabbed the phone, and called an emergency. But because of the snow, any assistance was impossible. So he treated himself. Taking advantage of the cold and numb leg, he removed the arrow himself. Then, he picked up the phone again to threaten in the owner's group, telling Zhang Yi to watch his words. "Chunjiang will kill you fearlessly." Zhang Yi responded confidently, "Come here again, and I'll kill you." This conversation left the curious ones in the chat group horrified. After all, no one in the region would have the courage to go against Chunjiang. This was the first time someone directly confronted the guy. Furious, he grabbed the phone and called all his employees. In no time, a herd of people, each holding their own weapon, arrived at his house. Baldy led them all to Zhang Yi's door. "Zhang Yi, you offended our big bro. Today is the day of your death." Attacking the door that was supposed to be made of wood, his sword broke, and he flew spinning away. Scared, Baldy said, "This door is made of pure metal. How many enemies does this kid have? His house is more protected than a bank." Watching the security cameras, Zhang Yi said they seemed weak and must be hungry. The group of people grew angrier and angrier. Zhang Yi had the idea of grabbing a water hose and turning it on from the kitchen tap. The workers outside saw the door opening passage, not understanding anything because it wasn't an arrow, so there was no danger. The hose sprayed cold water on all of them. A bunch of them fell to the frozen ground. Only a few managed to escape. This scene left Zhang Yi quite satisfied. In this freezing cold water is more dangerous than weapons. In Chunjiang's house, 3 of them who escaped huddled together, trembling with cold. He angrily asked, "What happened?" An entire group couldn't catch a boy. The 3 explained that Zhang Yi was very clever. He put a burglar-proof steel door in the apartment, and he sprayed cold water on all of us through a hole in the door. Chunjiang said, "He can't hide there forever. Put some men to guard his door day and night. When he needs to leave the house, get him and bring him." At the building's entrance, Uncle Yu led some people to clear the snow at the residential area's entrance, planning to dig a path to the supermarket to restock food. But they realized that, as Zhang Yi said, they couldn't dig as fast as the snow fell. After a while, they gave up and prepared to return. Watching this, Zhang Yi said that human power can't beat one of this size. Even though the television is reassuring all citizens that the country is winning the snow disaster, Zhang Yi is the only one who knows that 95% of the global population froze to death in this snow disaster. His lifelong passion sends a message asking if he's okay. If she didn't know the truth, she could be here with him in luxury. Zhang Yi says he's fine. She says she's out of food and reminds him that he bought a lot of stuff. "Give me some, and later I'll invite you to dinner here." Slightly, Zhang Yi sends a photo of a lobster and says it's already being served for dinner. Seeing this, she gets annoyed, thinking that's why he's single. His chances with her are over now. Her best friend takes the opportunity to send a message too, saying, "You made Fanguqin sad now." Seeing this message, Zhang Yi says that this little drama is weak. The best friend gives up, saying that the snow won't last long. "Why can't you help your lovely neighbors? You might even win Fanguqin over. That would be great for you." Zhang Yi ignores and responds with just an "oh." This pisses off the other women too. This loser suddenly turned so alpha, sigma, red pill. Yuqing gives up trying to figure out why his loser attitude changed so suddenly. They have the idea that if this loser isn't served anymore, they can use another one with less money. Yuqing called another loser, Zhou Ping. He came running and brought a big bag of supplies, saying it's all the food he has. Before Yuqing could fool another sucker, her friend slammed the door in his face. From the friend's expression, she didn't even care. She was just thinking about getting revenge on Zhang Yi for ignoring her. With this additional bag, they could last 5 days. 5 days passed, and the snow kept increasing. While eating a piece of chicken and waiting for the real drama to begin, all the buildings were in the dark with the electricity cut off. Soon, neighbors started coming out of their homes, asking each other if they had electricity. Now, with both water and electricity cut off, the heaters no longer worked. It was getting cold enough to die inside, even under the blankets. Before finishing the chicken, Zhang Yi was picking his teeth and turning on the generator he had bought before, or perhaps stolen, because he did that too. At the neighborhood committee, Aunt Lin was trembling as she held her grandson. She never expected the snowstorm to last so long. A message arrived in the group chat she was in, saying that this was a global snowstorm that occurs once every 100,000 years. We could be on the brink of a mass extinction event. Several important cities in the country have already been affected. Everyone must stock up on more supplies. Reading this, Aunt Lin was shocked. She never imagined the snow disaster would be so severe. Then, she thought of a plan. She needed to make all the residents give up their food before they received this news. Aunt Lin posted a message in the owners group saying, "Do not worry, this disaster is temporary. Workers are currently repairing the water and power interruptions. The authorities have issued an order. Because of these extraordinary circumstances, the neighborhood committee will manage all property owners. Those who do not cooperate will be arrested and interrogated by the police." Seeing this message, everyone became dissatisfied, especially Chunjang. But even if he was influential, if it was a police order, he had to obey. Meanwhile, Aunt Lin continued in the group chat. Due to the seriousness of the snowstorm, the neighborhood committee has decided to collect all supplies from each owner and distribute them equally to everyone to help overcome this crisis. Upon seeing this message, Zhang Yi remembered that she had done the same thing in her past life and had stolen food from all the residents. Aunt Lin's mistake was sending a message privately to Zhang Yi, saying, "My nephew, you work in the warehouse. I saw you last time buying 3 truckloads of stuff. You must have stocked up a lot of food. It's your turn to do your part." Zhang Yi, angry, immediately replied with an audio message, "You armed liar. I ate too much and ran out of supplies at home. When she collects from the building, come share some with me." Hearing this audio nearly gave the old lady a heart attack from anger. How could he have ruined everything so quickly? But realizing that she and her grandson were in dire straits and depended on Zhang Yi, the lady calmed down and responded kindly, "This is an order from the organization. You have to obey. After the snow passes, I will report your good deeds to the organization."